they make and they are not reaching your potential. Accept the challenges and then you get unstoppable. You get the idea. It's like I'm trying to aim for those chord tones to make a difference. So let's take an example from something like pop rock. You know that song Tiny Dancer? Yeah, it starts with a C chord. Yeah. And then it goes to F. So I just do a cowboy F pretty much, but I pick up my middle finger. So the open G rings out and then hammer it back on. Yeah. So it's like this. So if you were going to solo over that, it happens to be in the key of C, right? If you just think in C scale, you know, you're gonna have to basically play all the time. Oops. To try to be like, because if you don't actually know the chords or you're not thinking about the chords at all, then you won't really know where to stop. So what you need to do is you gotta be able to know, okay, C chord. So I want to end or start or both on a chord tone. Like maybe you play, you know, like that, just to F, to C, F, and C, to C, sorry, F, to C, F, C, F, to C, F, you know, and C, F, to C, to F, and that ended on C there. Yeah, well basically, I'm kind of just taking this C scale, but I'm knowing which ones are like the ones to linger on, you know? So if you were just to shred it up and then stop on the right note, you'd be okay, you know? But you gotta know which of the notes is gonna be the most melodic. Obviously, if you're shredding up every moment, then they're not melodies that people can easily follow. So what you would want to do is then play maybe more like where you have like your C. And I bent up to that note. Just in the scale, like, you know, just going up the scale. But try to create a little bit of phrasing, slide. And then bend, you know. And then that's went from you know, and it's like these are the notes to kind of make the chord where they are. So then maybe I'll just keep ascending the scale. Now if you want to be kind of dangerous, you can bend up to the major 7. You know? And then bend up to the C, which happens to be the 5th of the F chord. So you could play that actually was the major 7 of the F chord. Maybe I'll come back down for the C. So you play like major. Oops, should be. You know, and I'm just kind of thinking about the chords as they come and go. Another example would be like, let's say for example, we're on our C chord, and let's start on the 5th of the chord here. Yeah, that's right, B string, 8th fret. Right, and this is over C chord. right? And then maybe we'll do, I'm doing from the 3rd of the chord on the 5th fret to the 5th of the chord, right? And then the F comes around, and what I'll do is I'm going to take this note and bend it up a whole step, which is that note, the 10th fret. I'm bending from the 8th though, but it's the 10th fret, which is where our bar chord is for the F. See what I'm saying? Yeah, so maybe then we would solo like, you know, and we're starting to create a melodic solo that fits over that chord progression. It's only 2 chords in the chord progression, but still. Maybe you could do this, you know, kind of get some other kind of genre almost, you know. That's actually really it's actually a very country song. There's a slide guitar in that song. So anyway, what I did was when I bent up to the 3rd of the F, I put my pinky on the 8th fret of the high E string. Yeah. You could bring it back down. I'm still over the F chord. And then bring this, your F, down to the 5th fret, which is the 3rd of C. And you can keep that high note over there if you want, you know. So then maybe you're soloing like this now. We got to C. We go like, and then the F, and you got, you know. So now your solo is, or maybe I want something like that if I want, maybe. I'm actually thinking about chord shapes. This is something we talked about a long time ago. Like when I see C over here, or C like this, you know, or C like this, you know, or this C over here, and then I can combine these C's, like this one and this one. I could do like this, or like this, which actually is like our cage system, which I never really use. I learned the cage system after I kind of knew it anyway. But yeah, so then when I'm thinking my C chord, I'm moving around in the scale. But I'm thinking about not just moving around in the scale, which is fun to do, but I'm thinking about landing and ending on chord tones like this, where maybe I'll noodle in the scale. I'm just going to noodle in C now. So here's my 3rd. And then maybe I wanted to end on a 5th, you know, a chord tone. Their idea is I play the 5th, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, bent up to the 5th, 4th, 3rd, maybe 9, hammering up to the 3rd, and then I did the root in the 5th. Then maybe I'll be adventurous and go up to the major 7. So I went from major 7, doo-doo-doo, and then up to the major the root. So maybe I'll do some kind of like, you know, and what I did there was I went up to the 9 and chromatically went down to the major 7th, which is a chord tone. And then I went to the root and went down to the 6th, which is a scale tone, but then I went, you know, yeah, down to the 5th. And what I did here was I was basically, actually, here's an interesting way to think about playing melodically and how to fit in lots of notes in between a still, somehow melodic solo, which is basically this. I had my target tones were this, and I could just play it like this. All the other notes were just filler, you know? You know what I mean? In fact, very filler, because they're just chromatic. You know, it's possible to do that same kind of thing with less obvious filler, but still just scales. So, for example, if I'm going, if that's what I want to achieve, I could do this. You know, I actually did Lydian, which I kind of broke a rule. I'm just trying to do C major, but if I did like, let's say, I'll try again. Oh, there you go. That's another kind of sequence. There we go. And really what I'm thinking is, you can kind of hear is the main point. And this, you know, is kind of just like, hey guys, here's the point. Hey guys, here's the point, you know? And so you can approach it that way too. Like, let's say, for example, we wanted a melody. This is actually really fun. I've got to go pretty soon, but like, you could create a melody that goes like this, maybe. You know? And then just do a pedal tone, like. I think it's a little different than what I did the first time. Or you could change the pedal tones like this. Maybe. Sorry. And basically, I'm thinking I want a melody that's so kind of like nothing, but it's still, that's what makes perfect melodies. Just a person could go like, and make it more interesting, or they could go, or maybe, you know. And then you still got that melody hidden in there. You could actually take the melody of a song, maybe the song you're playing ideally, and take the melody and try to add some extra magic in there.